A few weeks back, I sat down with a few of my coworkers remotely and just said, hey, be real. What do you do when you fall off the wagon with YNAB? And they had so much goodness to say. Like, too much goodness? Like close to 2 hours of goodness. We highlighted some of our favorite moments from those interviews in a recent Heard It From Hannah episode, which you can find here. But I could not just let all those golden nuggets sit on an external hard drive in a worn down cardboard box underneath my desk. So I asked you, YNAB's YouTube community, whose interview of the 5 you most wanted to see, and I mean, are we surprised? Could it have been anyone else but Ernie from the Budget Nerds? Nah. If you don't already know him, you're gonna love him. Meet Ernie, 11-year YNABer, longtime YNAB educator, one half of the Budget Nerds duo, which by the way, you can catch right here on our YouTube channel every other Wednesday or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Lawn care lover, father of 3 teenage boys, Wisconsinite, I don't know, likes Chipotle. So sit back and soak up 23 minutes of unfiltered Hannah and Ernie as we chat through what we do when YNAB gets a little messy. What's up? Thanks for joining me today. Okay, how long have you been using YNAB?
11 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so a long time.
Yeah. In all your 11 years, have you just been a flawless little financial angel and just tracking along with your spending plan? Tell me about that.
It's embarrassing. I kind of have been. I'm such a nerd and I love it so much. It's one of maybe the only thing in my life that I've been really, really good at keeping up on.
That's amazing.
But that doesn't mean it's been perfect.
Right. Yeah.
It's just, I can't walk away from YNAB for more than a few days because my heart ends up hurting.
I love that. Okay. Why do you think that is? Why, you said it's like the one thing that you've kept up with. Why?
Yeah.
Why not?
Honestly, because it gives me so much awareness. Like life is so crazy, right? I mean, so many things going on, so many things out of my control. Money is one thing that I can be like, I've got this.
Yeah.
Or I know what's going on. I have some control over here. So like it's always been a very calming presence for me. Even when things get a little hectic, maybe I get behind in some transactions, just coming back to YNAB and grounding myself once again has been just so good for me personally.
Yeah. That's a good point actually, because even when like our financial reality is out of our control, like a bunch of expenses we weren't expecting hits all at once, YNAB still gives you a sense of control. Like now I get to choose how I'm going to fight back instead of just wondering like, are we going to make it? I can decide like where we're going to compromise in order to roll with the punch of this tree falling into my roof or whatever the thing is that happens. I never thought about that.
And I've had so many of those situations where, numerous expenses hit at once, or they're a lot bigger than what you were anticipating. And yes, I have absolutely no control over that, but I've always been able to sit down in YNAB, assess things, and then make a plan going forward. And I'm like, okay, I got it. I feel good about this situation now. And I can go out and then start worrying about all the other things that are falling apart in my life.
Yes. We need time for that. We need the brain space to worry about those things.
Yes.
Okay, so when YNAB is messy for you, what does that look like? If you're feeling like, I'm behind in YNAB, what does that look like for Ernie?
When I feel behind, it's feeling overwhelmed with transactions.
Okay.
And generally that's during vacations. Times where I'm just pulled away out of my everyday routine and there's a lot of spending going on.
Yeah.
So it could even be like a simple weekend trip with the family and we just have all these transactions going through and I won't enter them myself. So I'll see them come through with direct import. And like, I'll feel oh boy, like that's a lot of transactions. And some of them are from your normal everyday spending. Most of them are from that trip, but I feel that.
Yeah.
It's
For
not the
real.
normal like 1 to 2 that I deal with in my everyday routine.
I totally get that, because you go out to a restaurant. Is that eating out or is that travel? It could be either. You buy like your partner a little gifty gift. Is it a gift or is it travel? Like we never, and we're also very protective of our travel fund for some reason. I want it to stay as big as possible. So I'm like, maybe we just take this out of whatever, dining out or gifts, just so I can preserve the cushiness of my travel fund. I don't know. But yeah, when you have a bunch of expenses coming in that are never normally coming in, it's easy to just like, I'll look at that later.
Well, and at home, it's no big deal because my YNAB routine, I look at it before I start work. So I'm usually in my office. I'm by myself. It's my time. It's my routine. But on a family trip, Dad, hey, let's go. Like we want to go out for the day. They don't want to wait around for me categorizing 15 transactions on the hotel bed.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's tough to find that time to sit down and do that normal routine. So those moments always have me feeling flustered.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you just want to be present. I love to enter transactions on the spot. But yeah, I'm not doing that on a family trip. That's
right.
weird.
You're around the table for a meal and Dad's in his phone, like categorizing the spending.
Being responsible, children. I'm not ignoring you. My thing that I do that makes me fall behind in YNAB is if I go, it's pretty much always Target or Aldi. I buy paper towels and a treat for the dog and like hand soap and groceries and a gift for Mac, whatever. And then I have a transaction that I know needs to be split into like 6 different categories. And it's over $100. And I don't know where the receipt is. And I'm like, I'll come back to this later. I think I have 4 of those right now from the last like 2 weeks, which is bad because my groceries category already struggles enough with being overspent. I need to update them. But splitting transactions is what slows me down. Do you split?
Oh, I split like crazy.
I know. I can't not.
And I love it.
Clarity.
And that's why a lot of times I'll try to do that on the spot because that information's in my head. But with Christy, she's not as much of a budget nerd as I am, doesn't necessarily enjoy entering those Target splits on the spot. And so I feel that with splits, when there's a transaction out there that she has, and I'm like, what do we do with this?
Yeah.
And then I'm like texting her at work, like, you got to tell me right now. Like,
I have to know.
I haven't heard back in 60 minutes. Okay, what's going on?
Yeah, actually, the tables have turned in that sense in Max and my relationship. He enters everything on the go, and I have stopped doing that as much. I do like one big YNAB catch-up session where I take care of everything. So luckily, a lot of his transactions link up, the imported one to the one he entered himself, which is really nice. And then like every once in a while, we just get this backlog of Max fun money. I'm pretty sure it's fun money, but I don't want to assume. So I just let it sit there and just kind of do the elbow nudge for a while.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So if a YNABer came to you and they were like, I just feel like I'm not good at YNAB. I keep falling behind, or I was doing awesome and I don't know what happened, but like all of a sudden I don't want to check in with YNAB. I'm feeling overwhelmed. What would you say to them?
It's okay. Like, honestly, it is okay that you fell off, that things are messy right now, because the purpose isn't perfection.
Yeah.
Ever. And I say that as a teacher because, I don't know, like we're doing a YNAB video right now, right? But like personally, I feel that as well. Like my goal with my YNAB is never perfection. And I don't expect that from anyone else as well. So yeah, it's okay. And it just doesn't matter. In the grand scheme of things, who cares? Who cares that it's messy, that you forgot to enter transactions, that you've ignored it for the past 3 months? The great thing is you can always pick it up and start moving forward.
Yeah. I think a lot of people feel like they have to clean up if they have a backlog of transactions. Like, I have to deal with these and get my budget back up on its feet. How often would you just be like, whatever, do a fresh start over?
100 out of 100 times. Seriously.
Yeah.
Don't work back. I mean, when I started YNAB, I was making fresh starts all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because either one, things got really messy and my YNAB was a dumpster fire, or two, I just learned a better way of doing things. Mm-hmm. And that was especially true with credit cards. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do it this way instead. So instead of working backwards, let's just make a fresh start. Again, the goal is not perfection. Nor is the goal to have this one master, beautiful budget.
Yeah.
That you can look back from, all these years of spending and earning that you've done. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
We don't need that. So start fresh.
Yeah. I've actually avoided fresh starting. I mean, not avoided. I've kept up with YNAB enough to not really need to, but I do have this weird desire to maintain all my spending history and data. And like, I could probably count on, for sure, 2 hands, maybe 1, the amount of times I've actually needed to go back further than 6 months to look something up. Like, I really could fresh start, and I'm sure I would never notice that I lost that data.
Well, I was going to ask you, do you ever go back and look at that past data?
Yeah, well, really only for the net worth, and only every 3 months when I'm like, oh, cool, that's still a lot of mortgage, but a little more in the checking account, and that makes me feel good.
Yeah, every so often, something will come up, like Christy and I'll be like, oh, where was that? What was the name of that ice cream shop in Minneapolis that we went to last vacation?
Yeah.
And it's annoying because I won't have that information in my current budget. So I'll have to go back into an old one. But seriously, it takes like an extra 60 seconds to bring up that old budget, search, and then transform back to the new one.
Yeah. The data's never gone. It's just not quite right there. You got to go look for it.
Yeah.
Okay. You said you've been using YNAB for 11 years.
Yeah.
What year was it when you feel like you kind of knew what you were doing?
Oh boy. This is where things get really fuzzy. Probably 3 or 4 years in.
Okay.
It took a while.
Real. Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. I also started YNAB it depends. Technically, I think I got an account in 2016. I think I started actually using it in 2018. And then I started working at YNAB at the end of 2018 and was like, oh, shoot, I don't know. I'm not using this right at all. And Tristan, our graphics animator, had to do a sit down call with me 2 or 3 times to teach me how to use credit cards. Cause I just was like, I'm not getting it. But I don't know. It really, honestly, I don't think I started getting YNAB and sticking with it until I had a partner. And Mac and I got married. We had accountability. It mattered more how we spent our money and how we saved. And before that, it just I could spend my money however I wanted. It didn't really matter. So I'm very grateful for that accountability. So that'd probably be one of my tips. If you have fallen off the YNAB bandwagon and you're like, I just really, why is this happening? Maybe see if there's anyone in your life who also uses YNAB. They don't even actually need to use YNAB. Just anyone who cares about their money management and could benefit from some accountability. Also, it's a really cool level of vulnerability with a friend. Who's talking about money with their friends? Not me.
Yeah.
It'd be cool.
Yeah, it's tough to talk about.
A little more. Yeah. And you don't even need to talk about that much, but just I don't know, checking in and being like, hey, how you doing? That would be awesome.
You were mentioning how the accountability kind of helped push you forward. I think for me, it was leaning into the YNAB method. Because the method, the practice, it's so proactive. It's addressing reality and looking forward. And I think I used YNAB for those 3 or 4 years doing a lot of looking backwards and taking I would overspend a ton. And so then on payday, I would have to put, hundreds of dollars backwards towards all those expenses that I spent money on. And then I wouldn't have as much to move forward.
Yeah.
And once I got myself to the point where like everything was going towards what's next, that's when I started seeing the gains.
That, I think actually my story is exactly the same. I think expense tracking is just not that fun for anyone. Like, it felt like a lot to keep up with, and it was pretty much all I was doing. I would still spend however I wanted to. My vice before marriage, before I had any accountability, was clothes. If I'm being honest, I was investing a lot in my clothes to help find me a husband. I was like, I got to be noticed. And I didn't even care what my money said it was going to do for me in YNAB. I would spend it all on clothes anyway. And the best part is I've sold pretty much all those clothes or donated them since those days. So that's embarrassing. But yeah, I feel that big time. I actually, to be real transparent, my checking account hit $0 twice in those early days. And to be even more transparent, I was working at YNAB both times that it happened. Just because I was doing the same thing, just like retroactively throwing money at my past decisions and not thinking about what I actually wanted. Or putting anything toward the future. It was all just very like reactive.
I remember for the longest time, with the mortgage, ours is always doing the first, but we had like a 2-week grace period. Mm-hmm. And I always had to wait for the first paycheck so I had enough cash, because we were running on fumes by the end of the month.
Yeah.
And never had enough leftover cash to pay the mortgage on the first. So wait until that first paycheck. And sometimes it came right away. Sometimes it didn't come until like the 13th or the 14th. And then you're just waiting forever. And then it takes up so much of that paycheck. And I think that's the other reason why I ended up becoming really consistent with YNAB is I focused on the method and I started seeing some small wins. Because Christy and I, prior to YNAB, we were horrible savers, like horrible savers. And now we actually started to see some money in like Christmas, clothing, home maintenance. And it wasn't much at first. I mean, double digits, like $50 set aside for clothing. But like, we had never had $50 set aside for clothing before. And that way, it was so fun to be able to open YNAB and see like, oh my goodness, this is working. We're actually changing things around and making some progress. And I still think I get a huge thrill out of just seeing money that we have saved.
Yeah. Oh, same. Because of knowing where I came from. It's so cool to hear a little more of your story. Like, even me at YNAB, I assume everyone is here because they love money management to begin with, and they love YNAB, and they were so good at it that they're like, I want to work for this company. It's very grounding, and even like, just so encouraging to me to be like, okay, cool. I'm not the only one who like
not even
was
close.
scraping by. Yeah.
Honestly, we're the norm.
Yes. Yeah.
I really do think that.
Yeah, for real. It took so many years of YNAB, like just little exposures here and there for me to finally like figure out what I wanted, invest the time into, I don't know, being like, okay, I want to do this. I want to like prioritize. I want to make choices first. And it does take a while too to like save up, feel confident. But like once you get there, it's kind of one day you realize like, oh wait a second. Like some of these categories actually have money. That's crazy. And it's a really good feeling.
Yeah. I remember that moment for Christy and I as a couple, because I'm the one that does all the YNABing, like 99.9%, right? I'm that budget nerd, but she's paying attention. And I remember one day she signed into our bank account and she was like, whoa, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And like at the time, honestly, it wasn't a huge amount, but for us at that point in our young adult careers, it was like, We had never seen that amount in our own
Yes.
accounts before. So like she knew something is working here.
For real. We also got married, and 4 months after we got married, we kind of accidentally bought a house. I always say accidentally because we toured a house for fun, and then our realtor, who is a family friend, was like, you should just put in an offer. And I didn't really realize that, like, when you do that, if it gets accepted, like, you probably should go through with it.
Congratulations.
So we were like, yeah, I guess we're going to buy this house. Turns out, I'm so glad we did, because we got a low interest rate, and now it's like double what our interest rate is. But yeah, we started our marriage by throwing most everything we had at a house. And so we've really gotten to come from the ground up like the last 3 years and see our money build. And honestly, still every day that I log into YNAB, I'm like, wow, this is literally 20 times what I had in my bank account before we got married. And that might sound braggy, but that's how little I had in my bank account that we now have 20 times more than that. So still not a huge amount, but it is compared to what we had before. So,
I mean, I just honestly can't stress enough how normal it is. Just think about everything else in life. It ebbs and it flows.
Mm-hmm.
There's seasons. I don't know if this is even going to be relevant to what you're talking about, but Christy and I are taking on some new debt.
Mm-hmm.
We are taking out an auto loan for a new vehicle. And this is weird for me. And I think it talking about the habits and like the negative connotations that kind of go along with, you know, if you do fall off the YNAB wagon or you stop paying attention to your finances, how like, oh, you're not good at budgeting or whatever the case may be. I think this is along those lines that, you know, once you are out of debt, you're going to stay out of debt forever. And that's the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of pushing back on that a little bit. So we paid off our final student loan, and we still have we've always had a mortgage. Mm-hmm. But we paid off the final student loan back in 2018.
Wow.
And at that moment I was like, okay, never that's it. Again. Yeah, never again. No more debt. But we had some things happen with the vehicle. I won't make a long story longer, but we need to get a new one. And we're like, let's take out a little bit of debt to get this new vehicle. So I'm experimenting with that.
Okay.
We're going to see.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about the plan. If you can build it into the plan, like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, how is it different from a mortgage? You know, those questions where you're like,
right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like thinking back to our old selves, Christy and I would just blindly make decisions. Like, oh yeah, we'll figure out a way to afford it. But this time we have a lot more clarity around the situation. Mm-hmm. And so like there's actual assurances of like, no, we can handle this. Yeah. And it's not going to be a bad situation. And it fits with our priorities. So we're not going to feel bad about taking out this small amount of debt for a little bit.
Yeah. That's awesome. I would say that's a healthy money mindset and like really good growth. Like knowing that your plan can handle it. And I don't know, that's kind of all you need, right?
We feel good about it. Yeah. And I feel like that is all we need. And who knows, right? As soon as I sign on the dotted line, maybe I'm going to be filled with regret and be like, we got to pay this off ASAP.
New car. It'll feel good. It'll feel good.
But we'll see.
That's awesome. Very cool. Well, thanks for sharing that. That also is very normalizing and grounding to hear. Yeah, I love that. Nice. Okay. Well, thank you so much. This was an awesome addition. Thank you for being willing.
A true gem, yeah? Ernie is a constant source of grace, encouragement, joy, northern bliss. And when it comes to falling out of a good habit, he couldn't be more right. You are not alone. We're all gonna have our ups and downs in everything. It's not about how long we can go without falling off the wagon, but rather how quickly we pick ourselves back up, take a deep breath, and hop right back on. And the funny thing is, oftentimes when we find ourselves sitting in a heap of dirt after falling off the wagon, that's usually where we find that ornery little bit of clarity we've been looking for this whole time. Because it's not gonna find us in our stride, no. It's gonna find us when we've finally taken the time to slow down, pause, and see it. So, next time you fall out of the swing of things with YNAB, count it as a blessing, because you've been given the opportunity to start afresh, knowing something about yourself or your money that you just didn't know before. And once you're back on that wagon, well, you just get to enjoy the ride. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.